Stackers, if you think gold and silver have peaked and you missed out, think again. In today's gold and silver stacking Saturday strategies, I'm going to share with you why the Fed's rate cut, China's gold stockpiling, and also how smart allocations prove that the real gold and silver bull run has just begun. Hello, everyone. It's Rick Fronek from Silver and Gold Solutions. I'm really excited to share today's presentation with everybody. What we're going to be covering in today is how much gold should be in your allocation, which is very important. There's been an adjustment to that from what the gurus and everybody and what your financial advisors have probably been telling you in the past. Also, why the Fed's rate cuts changes the game for metals, and then the impact of China's ongoing stockpiling of gold. And they've been, this I'm going to show you some charts to show you exactly just how much they've been stockpiling and how that impacts everything, and then why gold and silver haven't peaked yet, and what's next for all of you who have not started saving in the form of precious metals, but are still interested in learning, how to go about doing it and what you need to do to take action today. Okay, so this is our weekly call. This is actually our 12th installment here. I do want to point out that every week I do have a recap on our worksmarterforyourfuture.com blog post, and that usually I put that out Monday or Tuesday, and it's a recap in writing of what I discuss here every Saturday morning. Okay, because my main focus and goal here is just to share information that's behind the scenes, what a lot is going on, whether it's stuff on news articles, YouTube, different news clips, or what have you. I try to condense that down into some key points that'll help you make a more informed decision on saving in the form of precious metals, specifically gold and silver. But at different times, we do touch on other precious metals like copper and platinum and that. So I just want to kind of preface it to make sure you go ahead and check out our Work Smarter for Your Future blog post, because that'll actually give you a recap of everything. And then also the videos are included on those recaps if you do want to catch it later as well. Okay, and this is something I do want to I have this kind of highlighted in gold here, or yellow here, gold. Official gold reserves surpass U.S. Treasury holdings for the first time in 30 years, but central banks are just warming up. That is key. This is something that I shared 2 weeks back, and it's something that is still playing a huge impact on what's driving the markets. Okay, and that's where when I share a little bit more insight here and a little bit on China and how much they're actually increasing their reserves, that's going to kind of play into an impact of why everything is happening the way it's happening. Okay, so what I like to do every week is I do a recap of what the current gold and silver market is. Now, this is we here again we're closing the week on another great high for gold at 36.8640 an ounce, and silver at 43.09. That's key because you look at the breakout points from when we started our pre-launch on the gold and silver stacking Saturdays. Gold was at 33.69. Here we're up over $300 an ounce. Silver was at 36.02, and we're up over $7 an ounce. So that shows you the impact over the short period of time, what has happened. So if you haven't started saving in precious metals, this is still a phenomenal time to get involved with it. And as far as how you go about doing that, I'll touch about that a little bit later in the video as well. Okay, so I do want to share that. So you see the big differences in how everything is staying consistent. Okay, and in one of the video clips that I share from Mike Maloney, and I do have like 3 different clips that I'm going to share here in the presentation. It does show you the importance of where gold, where it did, it spiked and then went down, and then it kind of stayed in that $32 to $3,400 range as far as kind of tapering off, but now it's starting to surge again. And that's kind of one of the videos I'm going to share with you shows the impact of that and why that's important. Okay, and then of course we've seen this huge influx of silver, and I like to do the gold silver ratio because that's really key. The typical range for the gold silver ratio is how many ounces of silver it takes to equal 1 ounce of gold. So like right now, with the numbers at 36.86 for gold and 43.09 for silver, we're at an 85.5 ounces of silver equals 1 ounce of gold. Whereas last week it was at 86.3 ounces of silver equals 1 ounce of gold. Now the typical range is in that 40 to 60 range over the course of history. So we still got a lot of room to go there with as far as silver catching up to gold, because Gold has historically always spiked first, and silver always plays catch up, but eventually does catch up. So that's where I always, in my personal how I look at things, I'm more focused on silver at this moment because the returns and the gains, in the coming months, in the coming year, are specifically going to be, a higher percentage of return rate. Okay, so I just want to share that with everybody. Okay, so like I said before, this is, if you think now is, when is the best time to save in the form of gold and silver? And it's still not too late. Okay. And one of the videos I share, I do believe I have a clip of a meme where it shows that, where you have one person in line when gold is at $2,000 an ounce, but now when it's getting close to $3,700 an ounce, you know, there's the lines backed up because people are starting to finally realize that, hey, this is, it's the fear of missing out thing. Is now the time to do it? Yes, now is still the great time to invest in precious metals or saving for. I don't necessarily want to say invest. I look at it as a form of saving because whether you're an individual or a business owner like myself, where I don't have a 401k to give myself, this is what I'm using to save for my family and my future and have a more secure future. So I want to share, this is something, a video clip from SD Bullion. Now, like I said, I do follow several different people. Robert Kiyosaki, Mike Maloney from goldsilver.com, also Andy Scheckman. And then also I do, pay attention to what's going on with Kitco News and SD Bullion. So I do kind of follow all the different, I guess, industry leaders when it comes to gold and silver. But I wanted to share a couple clips here from this SD Bullion video. And, this is, he kind of at the beginning, I'll just kind of go through this and it kind of explain itself here. Okay. So,
Federal Reserve began its latest
so here we go. He has a little meme here thing at the beginning.
behavior. An adoption tipping point is the critical threshold at which either a new technology and, or in this case, an old idea moves from slow, early adoption to rapid mainstream acceptance. We are now entering the increased precious metals allocation adoption phase in this modern Western world bullion bull market. You remember all those years of battling back and forth around the key 2,000-ounce gold resistance line? Congratulations, you're likely part of the early adopters. Thus, real increases in purchasing power and your wealth position have been and are transferring further to you to come. Come on in, broader financial institutions and high net worth crowd. The average mainstream U.S. investor is still asleep at the wheel on bullion, at least for now. The first of the aforementioned bullion allocation headlines from this week came from the CIO at Morgan Stanley, declaring the new investment portfolio allocation should be 60% stocks, 20% bonds, and 20% gold bullion. Better late now than never, I suppose. And by the end of this worldwide bullion bull market, heavy allocations to bullion will be much more commonplace than they are right now. Oh, and by the way, humble brag, we posted in our SD Bullion Resources section a bullion allocation study in the year 2018 that suggested getting long bullion to the tune of around 25% of the time, with one's liquid net worth made total back-tested sense. Again, that was back at gold spot prices around 1/3 where they currently are now. You're welcome, anyone out there who actually took that back-tested data suggestion that we published on our website and put it to use. Now, to the second of this week's major calls to allocate nearly 25% into bullion. Jeffrey Gundlach made headlines this week on CNBC, but rather than simply show you the article, let's actually allow him to speak to his 25% bullion allocation positioning himself.
Okay, well, I would just want to say real quick, typically, financial advisors or, somebody that they recommend 8% to 10% of precious metals in your stock, in your portfolio, if they're even recommending that at all. So this is key as far as, with what he shared there with, the article is saying that 20% should be in precious metals or gold, but when they're referring to gold, they're referring to both gold and silver, because right now with the way silver is reacting in playing catch up to gold, that's a huge asset to have in your savings portfolio. Okay, so I'll go ahead and continue with this clip here.
And asked you as well, like, what does the perfect portfolio for the moment feel like?
Have you been thinking more about that lately? And how would you answer that for our viewers who are thinking the same thing? Yeah, I really haven't changed very much. I'm still think gold serves a purpose in portfolios. It's at a high level on a short-term basis, but the momentum it is remarkable. I love it when a market goes up a lot and then instead of correcting, goes sideways for a while. And that's what gold did. It got up to about 3,300 and then it consolidated there. And now it's on uplay. I still think a 25% type of weighting in portfolios of gold is not excessive. I think that really 1/4 of one's portfolio in gold. Yeah, I think it's not excessive because I think that is an insurance policy and it's in a winning mode because of the weaker dollar, and I believe that's going to continue. So a lot of my perfect portfolio concepts revolve around weaker dollar.
Okay, so he's even there saying, kind of going along with what, the increase in how much gold or silver, precious metals specifically, you should have in your portfolio. Okay, so that's kind of key, and that's something I do want to. It's something that Mike Maloney, who I always like to share a lot of information from him on, he's always, kind of emphasizing that as well. Okay, so it's not just one person. This is something that you're going to see more and more. And like I said, if your financial advisor is not recommending this to you, I'd recommend kind of maybe smacking them around. But share this information with them because it's like that. Usually, they don't like to do with gold or precious metals because they, with when they're handling your stocks, they'll be able to charge you for the management of it. But when it comes to precious metals, like I've shared here in previous recordings or gold and silver stacking Saturdays, that you can do it all yourself. You don't have to have somebody do it for you. And if you're only buying it, like if you have your investment broker or whatever do it for you, it's a one-time thing because the key to gold and silver, which is it's a long-term gain, so it's not going to be something you're going to be managing, monthly or what have you. Okay, so I want to share another clip from this video here, and this is something that it's just kind of like a little bit interesting. It's kind of like an interesting overview of what's going on here. So let's go here. Sorry about that. Like I said, this is live, so it's not edited, so bear with me. Okay.
On gold, silver, and platinum further along in the second half of this week's bullion market update. Make no mistake, the shift to more aggressive precious metals allocations is underway. And it doesn't matter if I use the US government's rigged CPI price inflation data looking backwards from here to the old 1980 high, or if we use shadow government statistics price inflation data. Either ways, silver has to perform multiples in spot price to near back to levels seen in 1980. Even the old 2011 price high and rigged CPI data calls for the current silver spot price to basically double from here to get past the old pipsqueak 2011 price high levels. The eventual gold mania price is likely a five-figure number per troy ounce as well, somewhere well north of the rigged CPI data high that still gets brought out and laughed at by anyone who understands the price chart crimes. The 200-day moving average on gold is rapidly climbing, now over 3,130 an ounce. The current spot gold price ascent in fiat US dollar, its closest analog angle is the old 1976 to 1980 bull run. Spot basically eightfolded from 100 an ounce to over 800 an ounce in that run. Now we began this latest bull climb from the 2,000 ounce level, so you get an idea of what gold is currently threatening to redo. So
So that's something that is very key there. So a lot of when it comes to gold and silver, when it if you look over the historical charts, there are patterns, and that's it. If you follow the pattern, you see what's happening. Okay, and that's like I've shared before the cup and handle with the gold and silver and precious metals. It happens all the time. Okay, so it's if you're wondering if it's if it's something that's going to all of a sudden just flat out drop, it's not going to happen because the history repeats itself, like people say all the time. So that's something that I want to keep in mind here. And then I'm going to share this last clip where this guy's he's actually asking James Anderson here. He's asking him, what he's doing as far as when it comes to precious metals and what his game plan is. Okay, so go here.
Bin dealer is should you stack silver? So instead, what I want to ask you is if you could tell everyone just in layman's terms why they should stack silver and gold. That's great. Great question. Just so I can throw it out there, like I was telling you before we got on there, I just got an order and I'm still buying silver bullion and I will buy gold bullion if there's a dip to the 200-day moving average. And platinum at 1400, I still think it's long-term value. So why? Why am I doing it? First and foremost, it's to preserve my purchasing power, all the stuff that I've worked really hard to save for. Your time is probably your most important asset. And that money that you so-called money they give you, it's not money. It's fiat currency and it's going to disappear in value over time by design. And we are now up against a situation where the world knows it, and that's why they're buying in record size and gold tonnage. The emerging markets aren't having the U.S. bonds anymore. The U.S. bond has been going through a bear market for the last 5 years. It may have a little bit of a small little kick in a bull market for a minute. It's not even going to be a bull market. It'll just be like, yeah, oh, okay, there's like 1 year of the bonds doing well, and then 5 more years of doing terrible. That'll be for the next 10, 15 years, Jack. That's kind of how the bonds are going to look. They're going to be some of the worst places you would ever want to be. And the stock market will go through that as well. They're going to paint it nominally. They're going to do as best they can to make it look nice. But just go look at Venezuela's stock market, Argentina's stock market, and then divide it by gold. And yeah, that chart doesn't mean much because in real terms, it's getting its head handed to it by gold. And in real terms, it's getting its head handed to it by silver. You need to start using gold and silver as your denominator, as the thing that you judge what's good value and what's not value. The currency is going to go so badly in terms of inflation over time. I think that by design, they're going to be doing that next 10, 20 years until we eventually come up probably to a crisis where we're going to have a reconvening of the social contract in the United States. And it's going to be probably pretty ugly. I don't like to go through the thought process of that so far out, how that might look. But from here to there, I definitely think having a private nest egg of bullion off the grid, outside the system, in private places where you and only the people you trust and know and love know where it is. I think it's just a prudent thing. And, mathematically, you look back in time, 20 to 25% since 1968 to now, gold bullion allocated has been prudent versus the S&P 500 and versus the bonds. But I would say it's even more, you could probably be even more aggressive now. And I'm just talking your liquid net worth, not your businesses or your houses or anything like that. Just your liquid net worth, what percentage is allocated, 20 to 25% in bullion makes total sense. If you're older, stick with gold mainly. If you're younger, be aggressive. You could probably get more silver allocation, maybe some platinum too, because that'll take a while, but it will eventually catch up 1-to-1 with gold, I think. So.
Okay, so he did make some really key points there, and that's kind of what I wanted to share a different perspective. Okay, now this guy does, you know, he has his own bullion company, but it's, he's talking from a personal standpoint, not from a business standpoint. Okay, so it's something that kind of keep in mind. Whoops. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, so I did want to share this clip. Like I always enjoy sharing stuff from Mike Maloney because he does have a lot of great insight. And like all these videos and any information that I share on our presentations every Saturday, I do have the links below in the YouTube comments. So if you do want to watch the entire video that I share clips from, you can do that as well. And then also like with Mike in this video is talking about gold being or silver being attainable, $200 an ounce. Um, he kind of, I'm only going to share like a short clip from this. But it's something to kind of keep in mind. Okay. When you're looking at as far as precious metals go. Okay. Especially silver. Okay. Sorry about this.
Take one. So I thought that,
like I said, this is live.
It's too late to buy gold and you're using the ZPY, then buy silver.
Okay.
And remove limits on the number of times each permit can be used. So
okay, and he's going to be talking about in these clips from Mike Maloney and Alan Hibbard, they're going to be talking about it's going to touch a little bit on the impact of China buying gold here, and I'm not, and you'll see it in these clips.
Yeah, and it says imports and exports, but China doesn't export any gold. They keep it all. So they're the world's largest producer of gold, and they're the world's largest buyer, the importer of gold. And so this just allows them to import more easily. And so, yeah, we have one hell of a bull market coming. Exactly. Yeah. And more news from China on the Shanghai Futures Exchange. These are gold inventories, and you can see they're absolutely exploded. This is like unfathomable. It almost feels like a typo, but it's not. And you can see that the amount of gold on the exchanges was pretty flat for about 7 years, started creeping up in the last year or so, and now it's exploding.
It's an amazing chart, but the commentary from Zero Hedge is actually even more amazing. China secretly buying up massive amounts of gold, 10 times more than officially reported, according to Goldman Sachs. But that's old. That's from the end of last year. And then Zero Hedge reposted that and said, not so secret anymore. And that's true. This is, you know, what we've seen is this tremendous increase in price that corresponds with this chart. We've seen a price increase that where we have these bull markets where it isn't the West that's doing the buying. And even people in our sector are going, what is driving this? Well, there it is. Bam.
There you go. China, they're buying it all.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, we have a viewer comment here.
Okay, so that was something. Now, how that impacts silver? Okay, like it does have a direct impact, and there's a direct correlation between the gold and silver ratio, like I was explaining earlier. So as China is stockpiling this gold, and if you in that chart where it was still kind of flatlining, so to speak, that was in 2022. But then with like I mentioned before, when the United States put the sanctions on Russia for the Ukraine war, that's when all these other countries started realizing that, hey, well, if we do something the U.S. doesn't like, what are they going to do to us? So that's why all these different countries and central banks have started stockpiling gold to kind of get away from the control of the United States or the West, so to speak, of being able to control, uh, how how they handle their money. Okay, so this is something that kind of keep this in mind. So as China stockpiling gold, that's adding to the price of gold going up. But at the same time, because of this gold silver ratio, silver is going to play catch up to it. So in the amount of percentages that gold is increasing, silver eventually is going to increase, okay, to kind of more or less come into that 40 to 60 range that I was talking about before. So what I do is, whoops, is okay. So this is another clip from Mike, and what I found was kind of interesting at the time is the timestamps of when these videos, the portions that I'm sure, and they're almost identical. So I want to go ahead and share this as well, okay? Because this is something that's give you a little bit more insight too as well. Okay. So sorry about this. Like I said, this is live.
All that glitter. These are money markets. This is supposed to be parked currency that's in a safe haven bet. And what
Time to study all the markets, and it's so sad because, like I said a minute ago, it's like in the good old days, you could just hold gold or silver, and you didn't have to pay attention to the news or the markets. You didn't have to be an investor at all throughout your entire lifetime. But now, because of what they're doing with the currency supply, and basically the currency is not backed by anything real, everyone has to become an investor, and most people are just not good at it, and I don't blame them. And so, tons of people just go into the stock market because they don't know any better. So very sad.
Right, you said most people are not good at it. That is what I love about gold and silver. You buy it, you park it, and you sit on it. You have no counterparty risk. And I mean, for anybody that doesn't know what counterparty risk is, it means your investment is no good unless somebody else makes good on it. The brokerage house actually pays you for a stock that you sold. If you were a customer of Lehman, that was very questionable. If the US government, if you hold a bond, they've got to promise to tax somebody in the future to be able to pay you on that bond. If you look at the history of sovereign defaults, countries defaulting on their promises to pay throughout the world, I mean, it's just a total disaster all throughout history. And so you've got the only two things that I know of that have absolutely no counterparty risk. Even if you've got real estate, you've got to go through escrow and settlement, and there's possibilities of here in Puerto Rico, every once in a while, when you buy a home, you want to take out title insurance to make sure that there's nobody else that thinks they also have title to your property because it happens. Anyway, there is always counterparty risk with everything except for gold and silver.
Okay. So that's just, like I said, I'm yeah, everybody knows my passion about gold and silver, so this is something that I highly recommend that if you don't follow Mike Maloney on goldsilver.com, I encourage you to do that because he does always have some great insight and some videos. So I wanted to share this point again about this. It was an article that I shared 2 weeks back. Okay, Kiko News article from September 2nd. Um, Now these are quotes from the article. In the near term, he expects an impending rate cut from the Federal Reserve, okay, which we did have. Okay, so we had the quarter point federal rate cut. And then in 10 years from now, we're going to look back and say, wow, we were so stupid to think that prices now are close to a peak. He said the imbalances we have in the macro side of the global economy are just so severe and profound that gold prices are so far away from where they should be. So kind of keep this in mind. Okay, this is something that uh, is gold going to continue to go up forever? It's going to have its like where gold actually leveled off. Okay, so it spiked over the 3,000 mark, which everybody thought it was never going to do. Okay, but then it bounced up to 3,300 and it was kind of fluctuating or staying in that 32 to $3,400 range. So kind of flatlined for a little bit, but now it's starting to go up. Okay, so this is something that um, it is stabilizing. Whenever you see it kind of go sideways, that means it's the market stabilizing, and that's when things are going to usually pick up at some point. Okay, so here's the 20-year. So this is the current gold and silver prices. Like this is from silverprice.org, and like I said in previous videos, I encourage you if you want to check out the statistics. What's really nice, I always said, is they have a nice chart of where it is at the specific day and where it goes anywhere from 30 days up to 20 years. So you look at these percentage gains. And this is like something that if your financial advisor, whoever you have handle your finances, is not recommending you save in precious metals, just show them these charts and you can tell them he's wrong or her wrong. So in this case here, this is the same thing with the cup and handle. Like this is for silver. Um, Typically, Mike Maloney originally saw it with gold, but then in this case here with silver, it's doing the same thing here. Okay, where this is the cup, and here's the handle forming, and then it's gonna pretty much do like it should do pretty much a repeat of a larger cup. Okay, uh, and this is the central bank purchase in gold. This is another chart I like to share because it does show you the impact of what happened with the Ukrainian war and the sanctions put on Russia by the U.S. In this case here, you see all where the levels normally were, where here once in a while you would have, this is like during the COVID era here where you have spikes, but you see how it was low below 200. Then the key date was February 24th of 2022. And then you see what happened. Bam, it just starts going off the charts. So that's something that I want to keep in mind. Okay, so I today we were going to have our drawing, but I want to, let me get to this point. I am moving this drawing to next Saturday. Okay, I'm still going to have a drawing today for the people that did pay attention, but everybody who did subscribe to the channel or comment that Rick, I'm already subscribed. Go ahead and get me down or whatever for the drawing. You can do that. Okay, that's I only had a couple people that actually subscribed. Based on the instructions from last week. So if you're already a subscriber, just make sure you comment that. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel here. And that way, next week we are going to have this drawing where it's going to be a 1 year basic membership to 7K metals, which is $149 plus value with $20 gold instant gold pay into your account. And then also I do have the silver and gold solutions bonus, which is from our team to you for becoming a member 7K. Okay, and so this in itself has a value of over $70 as well. Okay, it gets the the mug, there we go, and then the silver bullion, the Buffalo Indian silver coin, and a 1 ounce copper bullion coin as well. Okay, so for today we're going to actually have we're going to do a drawing for another half ounce of silver. And so I do have let's see, I am invisible. um we have Shirley. Carlson. We have Truth Watcher, John Cook, Kimberly again, Roger again, James Michael again. Okay, so I want to go ahead and have this drawing here. This is for a half-ounce silver coin, and then everybody that I just mentioned and the people that who have subscribed or made a comment below in the video, going back to we'll go back to the beginning of September 1st. Anybody who has commented on the video or subscribed since then, you will have three entries into next week's drawing. Okay, so we're going to make it even better for you to have a better chance to win. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the drawing here for today. So for the half-ounce silver coin, the winner is I Am Invisible. Okay, so congratulations. So just send me an email at rick@silverandgoldsolutions.org and with your contact information and your mailing address, and I will get that out to you as quickly as I can, most likely Monday. And I will keep in touch with you as far as that goes. Okay. So like I said, to qualify for the grand prize drawing here, this will be September 27th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on our live call. I will have that drawing and giveaway. So please go ahead and make sure that you subscribe or comment below. Okay. All right. So. And I do want to touch on this again. I did give a wealth strategies presentation. I shared that last week, and then also on our YouTube channel, I do have this. Um, it's the video clip for the wealth strategies for beginners is like a 20-minute video. It gives you the overview of 7K, and I am an independent associate of 7K, so I do have to have that disclaimer. And I just want to let you know that the reason why I share that video because it gives an informational overview of why it's important to save in the form of precious metals, whether it's gold, silver, or different other types of precious metals. But it shows you how it can make an impact now and versus your long-term savings. Okay. And it's not financial advice. It's just an informational video. Okay. With 7K, they are located in over 63 countries. They are able to uh, get in touch with over 63 countries in the world. So if you're in any of these countries here, you are eligible to save in the form of precious metals. And what is really unique about 7K is, and what they have that no other company in the world has, and this is a fact, where you can actually save in as little as $1 or two at a time in gold or silver. So if you're on a tight budget, you can save in $1 or two. You can actually just purchase and have it allocated to your sound money wallet. Um, you know, anytime you want. Okay. Anytime of day or night, any amount you want. Okay. And there are no minimums and there's no maximums. No other country allows you to do, or no other company allows you to do that. But at the same time, they have with their sound money wallet, they actually have where you can actually, once you're saving in silver and gold, you can actually convert it back to fiat currency and back into your bank account with an minute, just with a couple of clicks. So it's something where no other company out there allows you to do that. That's what's really unique about 7K, and that's why I've always talked about them. And I do I do here's all the different countries. Anything that's colorized here, that's where 7K is located. Everything that's white, they're not quite there yet. Their global vision is to be in every single country across the globe, and they're making great strides at doing that. Okay, but that's where I do purchase from other companies, but at the same time, this is the one company that I am able to do this. This is one of the accounts that I use for example purposes. And so when you do they call it your wealth builder. So you can buy assets in 1 ounce US silver eagles, 1 ounce US gold eagles, 100-ounce silver bar, or a 1 ounce gold bar. So you can kind of split it up to however you want, or if you just wanted to do one specific, you can. But what's really unique is that you can, like, if I wanted to take this 144.73 and convert it into gold, I could just go ahead and log in and then transfer this over to gold or vice versa. And then if I did want to have something sent to my bank account, and convert it back to, physical dollars, then can also do that through there as well. Okay. And what's really nice about 7K is they do have a step-by-step beginner's guide for people who create their account, their membership. And you just go through each step and it takes you right through how to set up everything. And just probably within an hour after getting your account set up, you're all set to go. Okay. So it's very easy and very user friendly. And that's why I like to share that. Okay. So what I want to say here is that, like, this is the bonus that I would send you from Silver and Gold Solutions and myself to you for become a member 7K. So I do want to show this real quick here. So this is a little bit this is from July 25th, but I still want to share this whole cup and handle thing here. This is with gold. So going back to 1980 and then here, and here's the handle, and then here's another big cup forming. Okay, so it's another gigantic cup. Uh, so what I wanted to do here is I just want to say thank you for your time. I mean, I do really appreciate everybody that follows me every week. I appreciate the feedback, the direct emails that I get. And like I said, if you're unable to watch the whole video, you can get a recap on our worksmarterforyourfuture.com blog, which right now I've kind of focused it more strictly on gold and silver just because this is a really a great opportunity, and it is kind of time sensitive. If you think it's too late to get into gold and silver, and that you miss the bull run, it's really just taken off. Okay, and this is something where if you do take some incremental steps or something now to save for your future, you it'll definitely pay off. And the main thing about the nice part about gold and silver, I will say that it is something physical, and it's not something where, the government can't say, they can't create it like fiat currency, like print paper money. And that's what with the Fed cutting the rates by a quarter point. What that's going to kind of start doing now is it's going to it's hopefully going to have banks, lower their interest rates or whatever too, or something to try and stimulate things because of inflation. And the only problem with that is usually what happens with that is it's when banks are issuing out loans, it's I guess I want to say fictitious money because it's not physically there. They're just adding that into the system. So if you take a step back and you look at how things are happening, you don't see the banks when they give you a loan on something. Okay, they're making money off the interest. Okay, but at the same time, all that money is not necessarily there. So it's something that it's kind of like a fictitious thing, so to speak. And I may not be explaining this as best as I probably can, but it just kind of take an overall picture at what's happening in the world today, okay? And, make whatever sound decision you can for yourself and your family, what you can afford or what you can't afford. And like I said, with 7K, there is a membership fee. There's two different membership fees. But at the same time, once you start stacking or saving incrementally, it's going to more than pay for itself. And I will do this. I have to do a current video on the fees for what it costs to store or to store silver and gold in a vault. Because when you see what it is across different companies, I did this about a year back in August of last year, where it was kind of detailed, or it was detailed. But when you see the difference between the different companies, you'll see why you should with certain companies versus other, because there's all these hidden costs. And when you're saving for your future and your family, you don't want to be necessarily spending X amount of money and then it's kind of offsetting your savings. But in this case here, if you save with the right company, or if you want to take physical delivery, that's great too. But if you want to have it stored in a vault somewhere, I will shoot a video about that, and then get that online here in the coming week before next week's Gold and Silver Stacking Saturday. So I want to thank everybody for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I am invisible. Make sure you reach out to me. And I want to thank Mike Maloney and Alan Hibbard and also SD Bullion for their information on that I shared with their video clips. And I look forward to seeing everybody next Saturday, and have a great weekend and have a great week ahead. And if you have any questions, or if you want a separate private wealth strategies presentation, I do have an in-depth one that I can give you, your family, or even your business, where I will have it really detailed and set up in a step-by-step process throughout the presentation. So you can reach out to me at rick@silverandgoldsolutions.org. And I look forward to hearing from everybody, and have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll talk to everybody again soon. Take care. Bye.